Welcome into Monday Mornings with Matt and Kevin here on the Catholic Family Podcast. These two will debate real-life issues from a Catholic perspective every Monday at 9 Eastern. Topics that come up around the dinner table will be given the truth treatment with no punches held and no falsehood left standing. Sit back, relax, grab your cup of coffee, and enjoy the show. Here are your hosts, Matt and Kevin.
And a very happy Monday morning to you all out there. It's just lovely to be here today with you. Well, kind of, I guess, at least here with Matt. Matt got a nice short haircut. He's getting ready for summer. We had a beautiful week. And he says it's too short. It looks good. It looks sharp. But it does look shorter. It definitely looks. You're approaching skinhead level. So. Most people don't know what Matt looks like, so he's looking like a kind of a biker dude, like a scary guy, scary biker. If everyone wonders, he's like a big bulky, tattooed, bald.
I think many people.
People have probably seen pictures of you. Yeah, that's probably true. I got it. What can you say? But no. Today we want to talk about a couple interesting things. We did not change our format this week. We might do that next week. We'll see. We might get interviews. I want to talk to my wife about gut health, which is pretty interesting. She's not an expert on it, but she is interested in it, I guess, if that makes any sense, and has a lot to say about what we eat having an effect on pretty much the rest of our bodies. So maybe we'll do that next week. If we have time. It's going to be another busy week, but we'll see how we'll give that a shot. But today we want to talk about kind of a funny story at first about a McDonald's billboard, which I'm curious to hear what everyone has to say about that. And then we're going to talk to end the show. It's going to be a shorter show. We're going to talk to end the show about, I guess, can you depose a pope? Which I'm curious to hear about, Matt. I don't know where the story is coming from, so I'm actually curious.
I got you.
You got it, yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
Matt did the work. It's shocking.
It wasn't a lot of work at all, believe me. Quick scroll on Twitter.
And so you just sent me this McDonald's thing right before. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So first, actually, I was thinking as you were talking up there, happy anniversary to your parents. 37 years, I think your mom said. I saw the comment. Yeah. And, I think, all the work that they do for the show and editing, and as you were saying, editing and reading and preparing, huge credit, because I think in this time in the history of the church, I think that there are some names that will stand out as we go through this crisis here. And I think the work that your parents are doing and what you're doing, Gavin, what we're all doing here is really going to be known. And I think, you've made a prominent name for yourself. So that's great. And I think they put in a lot of time.
It's one of those, it's funny, like I probably had the bigger name because I've done the podcast with Bishop Sanborn and stuff. So it's not really deserved. It's just because I've done the bigger shows, but the stuff that especially my mom does, but my dad too. And he's done the Indefectible series, which has been awesome. We're looking into doing something about Sister Lucy. So stay tuned for that. Something really big. So, but it's very unofficial, but we're thinking about it.
Really question while we're actually on here, the guy who comes on from Sister Lucy Truth, are they even Catholic or I'm not sure. Like,
he's
Catholic. They are.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Because I know it was kind of like an independent. That is fascinating. The
studies he does are completely
non-biased.
Completely non-biased. Like the best people in the world. Like he really has scientists that
have nothing to do with religion.
No, not at all. No, they are the best at what they do. Like literally the experts. And it's pretty cool stuff. No, and it's a pretty interesting story that we want to keep pushing, because we really think that's the kind of a big red pill. The whole idea of, okay, once you admit, okay, that's a different Sister Lucy, then it gets you questioning, okay, wait, what does that mean? Why?
Not only that, but the fake one, the imposter one, was paraded around with John Paul II constantly, like as if they were pals, Right. So, what, and it made me wonder too, like, do you think, and this is so off base here, but that third secret that, has been really buried and not spoken of, do you think men like Francis or Benedict, well, I think Ratzinger did read it, but do you think they even know about this, or do you think that, I don't know, I wonder if they've actually examined it and know and are part of the cover-up, or if they just willy-nilly have no idea?
I think they know. They know? Just my guess, I would say they all know. Yeah, I think they all know what it was.
And they know what was done to Lucia.
And I think I think they all know what was warned about, and likely they are all part of it, right? I think purely my opinion, that I think the third secret was about the great apostasy, about the count, the Second Vatican Council.
Sure.
And that was kind of the warning, and that's why it had to be before 1960. And so that just to me makes sense, but I don't know, I mean, it's a secret still. So, but it is interesting. And I do think that the fake popes of the last 60 years, I think they did know. And I think they absolutely covered it up. Yeah.
I believe it was Ratzinger who supposedly had released the Third Secret, right? And I think that they said if you go back to the kind of like the Vatican II days, he was one who examined it or opened it up and read through it with because he had a higher position in the Vatican even during the days of like Paul VI or whatever. I think he had some ranking titles. So
yeah,
it's really just, I mean, that to me was just like, man. I actually have my own story with Fatima and Sister Lucy and all that, because when I started coming into the faith, that was really, I loved Fatima and I loved the apparition and I loved the writings of those three, the seers of Fatima. And I remember before, I think I actually mentioned this on the show once before, I would read the works of the original Sister Lucy and then read the works of the current so-called Sister Lucy in my eyebrow with no knowledge whatsoever that there could have been a replacement or an imposter or whatever. But just even to me, it didn't line up or it didn't make sense. Some of the things that I would read and study. So I don't know. It's a whole new topic.
Well, but it was something. Yeah, I was talking with a friend today after Mass, but we were saying the same thing. It's like, okay, let's just say there's no replacement. It's the same nun. Let's just say that you really have to say that Lucy changed, like her personality changed, the way she she held her faith. I mean, so if you're saying that's the same person, you have to say that she became a different type of person. Your personality changed. I mean, unquestionably. And okay, if you want to believe that, then okay. But I mean, and I think now we have so much proof that it's a different person. I mean, to me, it's so obvious that the Fatima Center has to admit it, which is that is incredible.
Huge. And they are not they are fully in line with the Vatican and all that, the Fatima Center. So that's pretty.
And they're Novus Ordo. I mean, what is fully what is fully in line? As we'll talk about. I mean, people want to depose the Pope, but then also you know how this all goes. I mean, people can say anything. Michael Matt can go and say heresy and apostasy, and the Pope is a clown, and nobody.
It's a good impression.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and it's just like it's a bunch of silly things that people can say whatever they want, and words don't matter. Words just don't matter anymore. But smells do, Matt.
Smells do matter. And I think this is a clever marketing.
Just changed a diaper like 5 minutes ago, by the way. So smells matter. Definitely
smells matter.
Yeah, that was not a marketing technique. That was just a little boy. Yeah, but
so anyway. Yeah. It's like a circle of life. So this story here, Cav, is out of Europe. And it has to do with McDonald's and their marketing strategy. And you could actually Google this and pull up the article. Is a billboard with no words, no images, just a blank red square that emits the smell of their warm French fries when people walk by it. And the marketing CEO there out there in Europe, this was in the Netherlands, I believe. Yeah, in the Netherlands. He said that smell has been proven to be more effective at sparking clear and emotional memories and responses than images, which I can probably agree with. Have you ever had it, Kev, where like you can be just sitting at home with by yourself or whatever, and you get this smell or this whiff of something that takes you back to like 2002 or something like that?
Yeah, sure.
You don't know where it came from or how or what it is, but somehow just you get a smell of something that relates and it goes into the depth of your memory. Smell is interesting, but so the whole point now is this an effective marketing strategy? I don't know if they have numbers out yet on the pros and cons of it, but really, so there's McDonald's that are not that far. I think it's at 600 feet or so. Yeah, 600 feet from the local restaurant. And they're just colors. It's just this one's bright red. There's another one that's bright yellow, and it just poofs out that smell.
I'm sorry. My question is, what is in the what are they spraying at you? You know, I mean, that's kind of
how do you get the artificial smell of McDonald's fries?
I don't really know. I mean, obviously there must be some deodorant. You know, there's something sprayed into the air. I mean,
maybe there's a guy underground grilling or whatever. Like he's got a little pot of oil. Like,
you got there's a little leprechaun. There's a leprechaun in the sign making French fries. Now I like that story a lot better. That's a better image.
But the thing though, Kevin, I'm gonna kind of wrap this up in here with this is that just the aesthetics are so ugly. I mean, you've got to Google a picture to see it, but there's just this massive, like, so, as you know, a lot of these European cities are beautiful and they're very old and they're very historic. And you've got this giant yellow square just in the middle of the street, massive, like I don't know, maybe like an 80, 90-inch television. They're huge, and there's nothing appealing about them at all. But I'm just wondering the marketing strategy of that. I guess I could see how I agree that smells might, be more activating than vision, but just I don't know.
But I mean, it's just an interesting thing, just wondering about like your personal space and stuff. Or like how are they allowed?
What if you don't want to smell it?
Yeah, you just walk by a sign and they spray. Imagine if this ends up being on a train or something. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna spray pretend French fry smell into the train. I mean, and what if it's? I mean, what if whatever they're making this stuff from is poisonous? I mean, and again, this is going down a rabbit hole, but it's like that's a fairly obvious question, because I mean they are spraying something for you to smell, which must be created from something crazy to smell like French
sort of chemical.
What on earth are you making a smell to smell like French fry? How do they do that kind of stuff? Who sits in a lab like spraying stuff,
and they get the flavor? We're almost there. Yeah. They're like, this.
No, that was more
like a Burger King fry.
Burger King fry.
We're salty.
No, we're close. Burger King. No, okay, we got to keep going. Not quite McDonald's yet. It's nuts. We live in a dumb world.
But I think, like, how many times have you, if you were driving or whatever, you saw a sign, food, coffee, or whatever, you're like, oh, you look at the sign, you think, all right, I gotta go and get that food. The images help. They got the nice burger up on the billboard, and you're all right, and it catches your attention. But
maybe
I don't know. The smell, I don't know how I would react.
I get the idea.
I get the point.
If you're walking, I understand. If you walk into a McDonald's and you smell the salt and the fries, then it's like, okay, yeah, I do want Grandma's that. It's totally true. It's like, I want that. Yeah, I mean, Grandma's Kitchen's better, obviously, but there is something to the smell. I just think that the artificial smell, that's a kind of a creepy idea.
You know what country is going to do the best at this, Kev?
America?
No, Italy. Imagine you're walking down the street of Italy and a billboard just sprays out pasta sauce.
I'm not sure I'm a fan.
I need some spaghetti right now.
I need mama spaghetti. This I don't know. No,
I would like. There's no. It's just. Let me just skim it here. Each billboard has a side compartment for holding. Oh, I think it's real. Each billboard has a side compartment that holds fries and a ventilation system built to intensify and diffuse the scent. Oh, it looks like a box of fries in there.
At least, then fair enough. At least then it's not some spray. Then then I'm a little more behind it. It's still very weird, but
oh man,
I guess I get it. Yeah.
There's no need to see a cheeseburger or fries for a brand as universal as McDonald's. Smelling is enough. All right. Well, I mean, I guess, hey, somebody's willing to try something different. Again, it's just the aesthetic of it is just.
You know what I think would be a better idea is get somebody, let's say an attractive person, you pay him $10 an hour to literally just walk around because it's probably in an old town, right? So you have a marketplace. Literally just walk around the marketplace holding a big thing of fries, just eating it.
Yeah,
and, man, I'd do that job. Give me that job. I'm just going to walk around the marketplace a couple hours eating French fries all day.
There was a guy, he made $65,000 a year holding people's places in line. Did you know that? He's a professional. He calls himself a professional place line holder. So, hey, you want to wait in this amusement park line for what? I'll wait in line for you. And he did it. And he did that every day, like 10 hours a day, and just did nothing more than stand in line for you. And then when your time is up, he calls you over and looks like
find a niche, man. Find a niche.
Yeah,
I respect that. Yeah, and I get that. The only time I ever did that was a baseball game back. You remember Rocktober? So Rocktober back in 2000. Oh boy, when was that now? 2007. Yeah, I think 2007, and the Rockies won 20 out of 21 games.
Yeah, I do.
You know who went to the one game they lost? Yeah,
you went. Right. You were there for that.
But I also went to the one of the playoff games. Oh no, maybe it was the one that they lost. I don't know. Anyway, and that was the one time I waited in line for a good 5 or 6 hours for tickets.
See if only,
never done it, but I should have.
The guy and
wonder how much you get paid for that. Anyway,
are you willing to pay for that though? Are you willing to pay for that service? No. I don't know how much it costs.
I mean, now maybe. Yeah, right. Exactly. If it's $20, okay.
Yeah,
but probably not 20. If he's making that much money, then it must be more than $20.
I gotta find out for the next, or maybe I'll comment. in the comments. $65,000 a year, I believe it was.
Wow.
So hey, people, hey, come up with a technique, right? Come up with a niche, like you said. Find something that people will spend money on anything. You just gotta market it. What about those cups, by the way? Where are the Catholic Family Podcast mugs?
Still working on it. It's weirdly more difficult than you would think to get these things out. Yeah, but it's doable. Did I tell you I ordered a T-shirt, and they sent me an email in German, and I could understand it pretty well, but it was pretty much saying, it's like, hey, your design's not going to work. The image is the wrong format for what you want in the T-shirt. So we recommend not using your design. And I was like, nah, that's fine. I got the T-shirt, and the image is like as long as my thumb. It's like this tiny little image in the middle of the shirt. Yeah. It's like, well, okay, they did warn me. I mean, I definitely can't say too much about that. But no, you're right though. It is something I got to put more time into doing the cups. It just takes time, and I haven't done it.
Imagine being able to transfer smells over like FaceTime or video call like this. So we can see each other, we can hear each other, but what if I could smell your cup of coffee through the screen?
It could be good. Like I said 5 minutes ago,
I wonder if they have this technology.
To smell what was going on near here. So I mean, good and bad. I don't know.
Like you put on YouTube, like say a cooking channel of making, I don't know, a steak, and you could smell. Elon Musk must have this technology.
But then you watch a documentary about China, and it's like,
I could smell it. You could turn the feature off. I wonder. That's probably not. Well, do you know how many things people have said that's not possible for, and now they've been possible? I don't know. I would say that's not possible, but it happens. This would actually be a fun thing to go through on one of the shows. I think it's the top 10 most failed predictions of all time, and they are quite funny, and they're from high-ranking people. One of them I remember was in the I believe it was the early 1900s. One of these military experts said an airplane will never ever have any use for a country's military. So that's one of those failed predictions. But there's top 10, and they're very, very good.
Interesting.
I believe it was the CEO of maybe Dell or Gateway or one of those things. He said people will never. A smartphone is not going to ever be in people's hands. Like, you're not going. It was one of those things, like an iPhone or whatever, is nobody will have an interest in it. There was another one where Americans will. This was in the 40s and 50s, I believe it was, where Americans don't have time to watch. The television is never going to make it in the American home. Americans have no interest in the television, and they don't have time to watch television. It's going to be a failed invention. So weird. I know. I know. But so I'm saying now that we'll never have technology to emit smells through the screen. But
so if any scientists out there, we want to patent smell diffuser, I suppose. I don't know what you got. Yeah, right. And plug it into your USB. Talk to somebody, get to smell their breath and stuff. Yeah. Sounds good. Anyway, from the crazy and insane into the slightly more. Well, I guess
speaking of insane, Alex
pretty
Jones.
Insane, right? Yeah, exactly. Alex Jones and the papacy. I'm curious to see how this connects, Matt.
He tweeted, and I don't have this one in front of me, but he said that I'm not Catholic, but John Paul II was the last true pope of the Catholic Church, and Francis is an anti-pope. He put that out there. A lot of people started to run to Benedict's defense, as you would imagine, but it was really caused that debate, and actually it trended so well that the Twitter recommendations turned it into an article of Catholics on Twitter are debating who the last true pope was, which is quite a fascinating thing in and of itself. Good. But then our very good
friends, that conversation.
Yeah, it's interesting. And again, I've commented on a few things here, but or online rather, but people still resort to the problem being Francis, and the problem is well beyond Francis. But at least as you and I have said for 2 years now, he markets himself so well that he's got people talking like there's no way that this guy could be the Pope, and at least it's making people think and to study and to get into it a little bit more. But here's an article that I wanted to share. It's from Rorate Chaley, and Dr. Peter Kwasniewski posted it and shared it. And he is calling for the resignation of Francis. And here is something that I just wanted to read from the article. So since 2013, the words and actions of Francis have caused an unprecedented crisis in the church and have done great harm to the church and the whole world. The members of the hierarchy of the church have a duty to act in order to prevent Francis from causing further harm. So here is what the writers of this article call for. We therefore, as if they have this authority in them, the laity, we therefore call for Pope Francis to resign the papal office and to repent and to do penance for his actions. If he does not do this, we call on the cardinals and the bishops of the Catholic Church to ask him to resign from his office of Pope. If he refuses to resign or to recant his heresies that he has upheld, we ask that the cardinals declare that he has lost the papal office. Now, the thing that I first and foremost put forward is it just doesn't work that way. Who's commanding the church here? You as a layman in Massachusetts can just call for. We therefore define decree that.
And also to say that the heresies the Pope holds, how does a Pope hold heresy?
Right. Come on. Right. But the thing too is, and there's much material on this and to debunk this, but it just doesn't work that way, simply because let's just say, and let's pretend this is normal times, and let's pretend that Francis is the true Pope. This still creates a conundrum, because as the catechisms and as the writings of the popes have pointed out in the councils, Vatican I, so beautifully, there's no authority higher than the Roman pontiff. So if an ecumenical council were to be called by the cardinals to depose him, the council is imperfect anyway, because it doesn't have the authority of Peter behind it. Right. So if the College of Cardinals were to say you are deposed, the Pope can simply say, screw that, forget this. I am the Pope, and my answer. So if he doesn't have to accept the declaration. So and then what? And there was a quote here, and I wanted to read two things. This is from a priest. Let me see if I can find it here really quick. It was from Reverend Charles Aguirre, I believe it was. Yes. So a general council, this is from Reverend Charles Augustine, a general council could not judge the Pope, because unless the council is either convoked or ratified by him, it cannot render a valid sentence. Hence, nothing is left to appeal to God. So that's point one. But here's just from Vatican I. They stray from the straight path. This is Denzinger 1830 as well, if anyone wants a reference. They stray from the straight path of truth, who affirm that it is permitted to appeal from the judgments of the Roman pontiff to an ecumenical council, as if there is an authority higher than the Roman pontiff. And then it continues on. If anyone believes that the Roman pontiff, as you know these words here, doesn't have full power to command the whole church, quote, let him be anathema. So it just doesn't work. You can't. They think the church is like this democracy where the laity can rise up and demand things, and they relate it to, I think, American politics way too much, as if, the Congress can just impeach the president. You can't depose a true Pope. You have to prefer the judgments of the Pope to the judgments of a council. So if the council says you're deposed and the Pope says, no, I'm not, you prefer the judgment of the Pope. There's no body on this entire earth that's higher than him. So it just creates this awful situation where they think that they can run and command the church based on their own personal preferences and all that. And the conversation at least is going, and I think it's being had, but the next conclave, whatever that might be, I think is going to be really telling as well. I think as you and I have discussed on the show, I think his successor is going to be just as bad, if not worse, than he is.
Well, they're all his Cardinals.
I'm thinking they're all his picks.
Like 90%, right? So
yeah, they're all his legacy. But still, it's just great that, I don't know if it's great, but it's just fascinating that this is actually being brought up. Like, he is so bad. Yeah. Ratzinger and John Paul II hit it so well, but it is just so bad that people are actually starting to wonder. And Alex Jones obviously has his he's got a big mouth and a lot of allegations behind him and a lot of things coming out of his mouth, which I think some might have a little bit of truth to them, but that's a whole other topic. But
well, I think it's interesting though that it, again, like we talked about last week or was it 2 weeks ago, the aliens and stuff, that these things are being talked about by people who are
have a very big.
They have a big platform, and that doesn't mean they're true or they're right or they're good. It's just interesting because before, Tucker Carlson would not have talked about conspiracy theories, quote unquote. So it's like, I mean, and someone like Alex Jones would typically not have talked about who is the Pope or who is not the Pope. So it's a really interesting thing that I don't completely understand.
As big as the Fatima Center, or a group as big as the Fatima Center, acknowledging Sister Lucy. I mean, like these are conversations. If you go back to the early days of Sedevacantism in the 80s or whatever, that these were things that were talked about in secret, right? Or probably in your parish hall or outside in the parking lot. But now these prominent voices are discussing it and putting it out there as something that's potentially and is true in a lot of sense.
Well, and we, after our last interview with Dr. Hoynovsky of Sister Lucy Truth, we got by far the most comments we've ever had on a video, at least as far as I know. I think it was 150 plus, maybe more. And it was a ton of comments from people that were generally not on commenting on the podcast. And I assume most of them are Novus Ordo or SSPX, or, not people that I know. I know a lot of Sades. I don't know all of them, but many of them. And I think that these were not them. And then it's pretty interesting to see that there is an awakening, if that's the right word. I mean, there is, people are waking up to some truths, obviously not all of them, and it's slow, but I think you are really seeing it. As you said, I mean, the Fatima Center just has to, and their response was pretty ridiculous, but they do say like, yeah, it looks pretty clear that she was faked. So, but don't look into it. Don't go down that path. Don't be a stupid conspiracy theorist. Yeah, she was fake, but don't think about it. Don't think about it past that. Yeah, exactly. Just be a dumb little idiot and don't consider what that actually entails. But no, it's actually interesting. It's something I talked to my friend today. It's like, I may have to ask His Excellency Bishop Pivarunis or maybe Father Benedict, somebody to talk about, the actual Fatima message, because I think this is what's interesting, that, and there are many points to it. I mean, why would a true Pope fake the most important nun of the century? I mean, that doesn't seem like something a Pope would do. So anyway, that's one topic. But also, I mean, the message of Fatima, what is it actually? And as you said, Matt, it was something that was important to you, and really it's prayer and sacrifice. I mean, it's pray the rosary, honor the Immaculate Heart of Mary, Russia's conversion, it's
immodesty,
really,
war, sin.
Yeah, exactly. It's really interesting. And people all seem to mostly just pay attention to the secret, which is interesting. But honestly, the message is way more than the secret. It was really like, hey, fix this now, or else there will be a greater war than what you're going through now. And then obviously that happened, and then the errors of communism were spread. So what Our Lady warned about is done. It really is done. So the question then is, if we understand, the messages of Fatima, and then connect that with the idea of Rome wanting to quiet the actual messenger of Fatima, wanting to say, hey, she's got to be gone. Not just gone. Think about this, Matt. This is a crazy thing. It's not just, hey, we need Sister Lucy hidden or killed even. We have to replace her with someone who will completely change everything that the real Sister Lucy stood for. Yeah. And what Sister Lucy stood for, obviously, primarily was, I mean, for goodness sake, she spoke with the Blessed Virgin. So, I mean, that's a really interesting thing. And I think that's what we really need to kind of focus on it. Okay, let's dive into it. And again, I'm not one who thinks you need to, really stress about Fatima or, what is the third secret. But I think if we understand the message, first of all, we should always listen to Our Lady. That was the last time she appeared, at least that we are pretty sure of. Maybe like, Akita, I think is definitely interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah.
It's definitely interesting that one I could see. I mean, like Garabandal is, I think, demonic. There's others that are, likely not, Fatima is the one that you had the miracle of the sun. So it's pretty well sure that was Our Lady. And so the messages there are something we definitely should listen to, and then connect the dots. Boy, Matt, talk about red pilling people. I'm telling you, that's,
and one, as you said, I think the personality shift was one of the biggest ones, because the real Sister Lucy was very solemn, and she was very serious all the time.
She saw hell.
She commented on that. She commented on that because it was brought up to her, and she said, yes, well, because Our Lady is very solemn. Our Lady is very serious. Our Lady is very sad. And then you have the new one who is constantly laughing and in the best of moods,
kind of clownish. I mean, maybe that's being too harsh, but I mean, definitely at times like silly, like okay, calm down. Yeah, weren't you a Carmelite? Weren't you in the cloister? I mean, very, very strange. And I think, I think that's it's a really important thing that I think people should look more and more into, and especially to see what did Our Lady tell us to do.
And I do think I agree with you. I think this information is in the Vatican. They know what they did, and if and when we get a true pope, I think this will be released. I think it'll be something that they put out to the public at some point. The truth behind what happened with,
and honestly, it's probably like the third secret is going to be like, duh, because now we're by that time maybe it's 80 years later. It's like, yeah, well, of course it was the Great Apostasy.
We see it now.
Of course, it was Vatican II. But I mean, obviously in the 1960s, and it was interesting. I think it was maybe Father Benedict who was saying, I forget who it was. Maybe it was Dr. Honofsky who said that back in 1960, the entire Catholic world was waiting like with bated breath for the third secret to be released. It was like, okay, like everyone was like, everybody knew about it and everyone was waiting for it. And the fact that they didn't do it was really shocking. It was actually really, people were at that time really, really stunned that they didn't release it. And it's something that, again, now 60 years later, we forget that. But it's something that is pretty interesting to think about too.
The purported secret that they did release is laughable. It contains nothing of any monumental. Strange. It just says do penance or like not much to it.
Well, and like the Pope would be the man in white would flee up a hill and be shot at with
like honestly, like who cares? Like
very, it was very odd. Yeah, even if it happened to a true Pope, it's like, would Our Lady? Would that be the third secret? To say of something that's going to happen? I don't think that's not how Our Lady typically works. Typically, Our Lady comes and says, hey, this is what you need to do in order to save your souls. Our Lady's she's not a fortune teller. And I think it's one of those things and that's interesting too, when you start looking at the La Salette, because La Salette, the actual general message is, it's of Our Lady crying, right? It is sorrow because the world was going to a dark place. It was going down, a bad way. Now, what happened was that the seers of La Salette eventually kind of, almost, I think they almost even lost the faith. I know they definitely became untrustworthy. And so the reports of La Salette changed. I think there are like 3 official or, quote unquote official ones. And the first one is the one that I know that priests would tell you that's if you're going to look into La Salette, make sure that you read the first version of it, because it changed. And it's later on where they say, like, Our Lady said the seat of Rome would be, what would they say, that the seat of the Antichrist would be on the throne of Peter,
which I believe like was actually a condemned.
Right. It didn't happen. Like, yeah, exactly. So it's, I think it may have been, it was certainly,
I believe it was Pius IX who said, shut up about this, basically.
Yeah. Which is interesting again, because it was clearly like the church is like, no, that's not what Our Lady does. She's not a prophet of doom. It's just
she only knows what God reveals to her as well. She's not a fortune teller.
Right.
She brings the message that God ordains that she brings.
Right. Yeah. No, interesting. Well, I mean, Matt, we definitely had an interesting selection.
Yeah, all over the place, but
we
were all right.
Yeah, it was fun. I definitely enjoyed it.
Fries.
Yeah, go get some fries. The closest McDonald's to me is about 35 minutes away, which is probably
5 minutes.
It's so expensive though, Matt. Here, I don't know if it's the same in the U.S.
It is.
It's so expensive.
If you want like a Whopper fries, and it's $18.
It's nuts. I mean, McDonald's is like, okay, I used to go to McDonald's because like, hey,
$5.
Exactly. I can get a fries and a burger for $5. Wendy's used to have the 4 for $4. I don't know.
Right.
That thing was awesome, man. I went there like twice a week. I shouldn't have. I mean, but man, nowadays food is we went to a fest the other day, and I got a like, what did I get? A beer, French fries, and a water or something, and it's like $20 or something like that. It's just like, what is going on?
We're just so fortunate that Biden's in charge, or else it'd be much worse.
Thanks, Biden. Yeah, thanks, Biden. Bidenomics. Awesome. Well, Matt, enjoy your French fries. I'm sure you'll enjoy your coffee as well. I know. I'm sure you had coffee.
I did. Yes, of course I did.
Yeah, Krispy Kreme. No, not Krispy Kreme. The other one. Dunkin' Donuts. Nice. Well, Matt, we will talk to you again next week, and definitely if you have an interview you want to do it. And again, people in the comment section, if you have an interview you want us to try for, or you want to be interviewed, I'm not guaranteeing anything, but you can definitely reach out to us, comment on this video. That's the best way. I'll look at the comments.
Sure.
And or if you have a topic, I like the top 10. That's a really cool idea because those are fun to comment.
Oh, the inventions, yeah.
We'll do that stuff like that. That's a lot of fun. I really enjoy those. I really enjoy those types of videos too. So maybe we'll do that next week. We also have to talk about fitness and
nutrition,
diet, nutrition, all that stuff. But one of these days. No rush. Anyway, Matt, till next time, everybody else, take care, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff, and we will see you